All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really profound classical text called The Fragrance of Suman. And I've got to say, I am absolutely thrilled to share this with you. What this text does is so cool. It builds this stunningly elegant framework to explain what it actually means to have a truly pure mind, and it does it by drawing these direct, totally logical parallels to the natural world around us. So if you've ever wanted to grasp exactly how ancient wisdom defines true empathy, well, you're in exactly the right place.
So, let's kick things off with a bit of a provocative question, just to anchor our journey today. Where do you think true beauty actually lives? Like, is it something purely physical, like the vibrant petals of a flower, or is it something totally internal, like a pure, compassionate mind? Well, the text we're diving into argues that those two concepts, they aren't mutually exclusive at all. In fact, they are intimately connected. We're going to see exactly how this source material brilliantly merges botany and spirituality to answer this very question.
Section 1. Suman, Flower and Mind.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, because the entire foundation of this explainer rests on a linguistic pun. The word we're zeroing in on is Suman. Now literally, Suman translates to a soft, fragrant flower. But if you break the word down, Su literally means good or beautiful, and Man means mind. Put it together, and Suman is a beautiful, pure mind. The author uses this incredible double meaning to connect physical beauty directly to spiritual purity. To the author, a beautiful mind behaves exactly like a beautiful flower.
Moving on to Section 2. The Saintly Heart, the Butter Metaphor.
To really wrap our heads around this concept of a pure mind, the text brings in the teachings of Swami Tulsidas, who used a brilliant everyday analogy. He compared a saint's heart to navneet, which is butter. Think about it. Physical butter melts, right? But it only melts when it's subjected to its own direct heat and fire. It literally requires personal distress to change its state. A truly pure mind melts too, but the trigger is entirely different. A saint's heart melts simply from witnessing the heat, the pain, and the sorrow of other people. No personal fire required, just deep, profound empathy.
And that crucial difference is captured perfectly in this verse from the Ramayana. It goes, Sant Kridaya Navneet Samana, Kahaka Vinpe Kahana Jana. Basically, poets often say a saint's heart is like butter, but honestly, they don't fully understand it. The verse continues, Nij Paritap Drave Navnita, Par Duka Drave Sosant Bunita. This is the whole shebang right here. Butter melts from its own heat, sure, but a holy saint is infinitely greater because they melt from the sorrow of others. The text uses this to definitively show us that a pure mind is defined by its completely selfless reaction to the world's suffering.
Section 3. Empathy in Nature, the lotus flower.
You know, this idea of reacting to your environment, it isn't just a human trait. The text brings us right back to the literal flower, the summer goman, to show us that this exists vividly out in nature too. Some flowers actually physically respond to the energy around them. The text beautifully describes how they practically laugh and bloom when they're exposed to the world's light, wealth, and joy, and how they physically wither and fade away when coated in darkness. The prime example here is the lotus flower. It bursts open with the morning sun, soaking in the light, and then closes up and withers at nightfall. It's like nature itself is demonstrating biological empathy.
So the text actually categorizes these hyper-responsive flowers as high class. And here is where the metaphor fully, beautifully connects. A high-class Suman, meaning a highly elevated, beautiful mind, behaves exactly like that lotus. This pure mind is genuinely overjoyed when it sees the prosperity of others, and it is completely, utterly devastated when it witnesses the pain of the destitute. It doesn't live in a bubble. It blooms and withers in total, perfect synchronization with the joy and sorrow of the human beings around it.
Section 4. Ultimate Compassion, Lord Buddha.
Now, if we're looking for the absolute pinnacle of this kind of empathy, the text points us straight to Lord Buddha. And it outlines a really fascinating psychological progression here. We're not just talking about feeling kind of sad for someone. This is a literal step-by-step path of purification. Step 1 is witnessing someone else's pain. Step 2 is the reaction, shedding tears of genuine, deep compassion, where your inner core cries just like Lord Buddha did. Now, pay super close attention to Step 3. The text argues that these selfless tears act like a spiritual solvent. When you cry for someone else's pain, your own sins and internal heat are literally washed away. And that leads directly to Step 4. Your inner core is left supremely and perfectly pure. Empathy, it turns out, is the ultimate cleanser.
Section 5. The Fragrance of Virtues, Attracting Goodness.
So what happens when your heart actually reaches that supreme state of purity? Well, something pretty magical, yet completely natural, occurs. Think about how rivers behave in nature. You don't have to force them or push them, right? They just spontaneously and effortlessly rush down to join the vast ocean. According to our source material, the exact same principle applies to a pure mind. Once your soul is fully compassionate and washed clean, all other good virtues naturally rush in to fill it. You literally don't have to chase them. They're automatically attracted to your purity, just like a river rushing to the sea.
And when all those virtues rush in, they don't just sit there. First, this captivating collection of virtues naturally fills the pure Suman. But then, just like a literal flower in a garden, these virtues spread outward. They get carried along by the wind of human interaction, creating this profound spiritual fragrance that touches everyone. And it's precisely because of this divine fragrance that such pure minds, just like the finest, most fragrant flowers, are deemed worthy of being offered on the heads of gods.
The source material wraps up its entire philosophy with this one powerful, direct promise. If your mind is a Suman, the fragrance of virtues will surely fill it, and the world will be devoted to that fragrance. It's a beautifully structured cause and effect. If you can manage to cultivate that pure empathy, if you can truly melt at the sorrow of others and bloom at their joy, virtue is absolutely guaranteed to find you, and the world is naturally going to revere the goodness you put out there.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final, lingering thought to chew on today. Is your mind a Suman? Are you just melting from your own heat like a stick of physical butter? Or are you actually allowing the experiences of others to shape your compassion and wash away that internal heat? Applying these ancient truths to our crazy modern lives takes a lot of focus for sure, but as the text promises, that resulting fragrance of virtue is entirely worth the effort. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep cultivating that pure mind.